Hello and welcome to this Tea and Tights and Powered Forward TV special as we preview Lancashire Wrestling Federation's Fightmare Before Christmas. Fightmare Before Christmas is set to feature some of the best young talents as well as experienced talents, including Lana Austin, Tonga, Webb, Keenan, Krishna, the Sinergy Boys, and more. Joining me for this LWF special is the LWF owner and promoter, Ste Bibby. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Very, very positive at the moment.
Excellent to hear. And we are, of course, Tea and Tights, a Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on bodyslam.net, as brought to you by Powered 4 TV. I am your host, the Great British Otaku, Mr. Andrew Moore, and Eaton Most. Unfortunately, Big Daddy Dan cannot join us for this one, but it's okay because Steve is going to make up for that one, aren't you?
I would like to think so. I hope I'm a good enough fill-in.
I'm sure you'll be superb. I say, before we get on to talking about Fightmare Before Christmas itself, of course, you do have the LWF Academy. You've produced guys like Steve, bear with me, I'm going to, Aiton Steen, Nick Kutter, and Davey Getsky. Of course, Davey Getsky and Aiton Steen recently performed at Powered 4 TV's Extreme Fields. How did that come about?
I think it was just basically off the back of the momentum that we had. And we were sort of aware of TNT's work, and we really, a lot of our guys travelled down. I actually think that Davey Getsky and Nick Kutter had actually been there to help them out a couple of times. And then I got a message just after October Overload show when we were really peaking at that point, asking if we'd like to be part of it, whether we'd like a match on the card, and I didn't even think about it twice.
David Getsky and Aiton Steen, of course, two of your best, so that's why you sent them, I guess.
I sent them. Well, that's one of the reasons, but also because there's a lot going on with the two of those on our product, and I thought it would only enhance what we were doing as well. So it was a bit of a win-win situation, really. They are two of the standout guys, but they also there's also a real needle between them on the LWF show, so it made sense. It was a no-brainer, really, that one.
Excellent. And of course, the LWF Academy is located in Chorley, is that correct?
That's right, in Coppell, Chorley, the academy, just on the outskirts. And we've been at that location now since roundabout June time.
Excellent. And what sort of classes are you running down there at the moment?
Well, we're certainly running a variety of classes currently with a variety of trainers. We've got, well, for example, I'll give you this week's example. On Wednesday night, we have a character and promo class with Mikey Fitzgerald. Then we have Wildfire Nate Reese is going to take Thursdays as a mixed class. And then Damon Lee on the Saturday will take the Saturday morning. And we've had a lot of very, very helpful trainers, very good skilled trainers come down. We try to have a variety, so there's a lot of perspectives given to the students. We've had Lana Austin, Rob Drake take the classes prior to now. We had Matt Fox did a great one last Thursday. So I'm just trying to mix it up. Troy Ryan does a lot of great Thursday sessions as well. So we have a lot of ideas put to the academy students, and they sort of run with it. And there's a lot of progress being made off the back of this structure we've got.
I mean, you mentioned the experienced people there like Lana Austin, Damon Lay, huge experience between the two of them. But guys like Matt Fox, who guys may not know as much, but he was a veteran of the holiday camp scene. He's such a character as well. So he has so much to give, and a true catch wrestler.
Yeah, he's. I think as well that what was great about his inclusion was that he took a lot of the newer guys right back to not just the basics, but the basics of the basics, things that you forget. And that was very, very well received. And we also had the week before we had Sonna Durson down to do a class as well. So
he's a rising star right now, Sonna Durson.
Absolutely, 100%.
We've tipped him to be, if not next year, he'll be a world champion in some of the top promotions. Obviously, the English champion, but just lost. But he's going to be breaking out on Extreme Wrestling's main show this year, and that's going to be fantastic to see.
It is.
Excellent. So let's talk about Fightmare Before Christmas. You've got, as mentioned, a lot of big names there. Lana Austin, JJ Webb, Tonga. A lot of these guys are getting around on the scene at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've sort of, with the LWF, are very storyline driven. So we will bring in the big names when the time's right. And we've sort of had a lot of story building up towards Lana's appearance. She will be facing Katie Hawkins on the night, who is on a very surprising losing streak. So she begged management for this match, so she could really prove that this was just a blip, you know. And it said JJ Webb was down for October, so we've kind of familiarized our Chorley crowd with these guys, if they weren't already, and they mix so well with the academy talent we brought through. There's a really good mix of experience and new up and coming talent on the shows, and it is brilliant as well that we're getting recognised enough that these guys want to come to work for us as well. I'm really pleased with that on a personal level. Yeah,
no, of course. And Lana Austin, Katie Hawkins is not the only women's matchup on the card. You've got, is it 3 in total?
Yes.
So let's talk about Aurora Teves and Kelly Van Ness. I know a bit about Tevez. I'm not so familiar with Kelly Van Ness. So can you give us a bit of background?
Well, Kelly, we gave, I'd say it's her first opportunity, but certainly one of the earliest opportunities she had at Slamaganza when we reopened after lockdown. And she was so popular with the crowd. She's very high energy. She scar dances to the ring, so it's that kind of thing's always going to go down well with the crowd. And she's just gone from strength to strength, and it's not just the LWF now. She's playing a trade in. She's going getting a lot of bookings, and rightly so. And she, in terms of her LWF story, she has been on a ongoing battle with Melanie Price for quite some time, culminating in November when she challenged Melanie for, once and for all to finish this, and then Melanie broke her foot. So now Aurora Teves has been drafted in by Melanie herself as a hand-chosen replacement to go and do her work for her, and I believe Melanie will be at Fightmare Before Christmas as well at ringside. So it's almost like she's got hired help almost in that sense. So it's an interesting match, that, because we kind of knew what to expect from Kelly and Mel. Don't know what to expect from Kelly and Aurora.
No. Aurora Teves is a young Canadian superstar who's just recently come over and is working over at the Future Shock Academy, if I'm right. She's made a few appearances for Superstar Pro Wrestling, and she's also made a few appearances for TNT Ignition's pre-show. Very technically skilled, explosive, looks quite strong as well. So this would be a very interesting matchup, but she's quite a fan favorite usually. So it'll be interesting to see her not in this case.
Yeah, I'm interested in that too, because she's not just not a fan favorite. She's also doing the work of Melanie, who's universally loved in the LWF. So it's interesting to see her in that kind of situation. I'd actually first seen her properly live at This Is Wrestling in Ormskirk, and she was very good then. And I think she'll certainly bring the best out of Kelly.
Two talents that will certainly go far in the next couple of years. You've got a couple of 6-man tags, including the Worst and Tony Wright versus Jack Roberts, Bob Koston, and is it Lachlan Sharpe?
It's Lachlan.
Okay, Lachlan. Tell us about this one.
Well, the Worst sort of formed and materialized through Isaiah Quinn. He came to Honor and Glory, our show, when they were doing a tournament to go into a number one contendership match, and Vinnick and Gorgon were unsuccessful, and Isaiah was ringside for both those matches, and he sort of took the pair of them under his wing. And I think the idea that Isaiah has, the guiding light agency behind him, he has this idea that when you are the worst, it's not great, but when you're at your worst, you're dangerous. And I think he's trying to mold them from the worst into at the worst. That's my take on it, but Isaiah's book probably tells me it states otherwise. And they're looking for a first win. He is constantly on them. He's a real leader. If you see some of the backstage scenes between the Worst and Isaiah have been very much Isaiah sort of berating the pair of them for not doing the bit that is his duty correctly. They've got a chance in this one, but they are facing three guys who all won their matches on the November show, who are all on a roll. And it's a hell of a task. And they have recruited Tony Wright, who's making his full debut, to try and help them out with that. So don't know what to expect from the Worst and Tony Wright. They've not had a good history with recruiting people. They were unsuccessful with Oscar Byron at the last show. It's just time will tell, really.
Yes, Isaiah Quinn. He's he's a cult-like figure, isn't he?
He's very much. I think that's hit the nail on the head with Isaiah. He has his way. Not quite sure what it is still, but I think he's making slow behind the scenes progress with the Worst. But again, it's the results that count.
As you say, he's not looking to bring out the best in him. He's looking to bring out the worst.
The Worst, exactly.
Excellent. And you say the three young men on the other side are all on winning streaks at the moment.
They are. I mean, Jack Roberts is a very technically astute, skilled wrestler, and he is also part of Sinergy. So he comes into this off the back of a few wins. He defeated Stephen Cross at the last show, looked very impressive in singles as well as tag. Lachlan Sharpe has had some big matches recently with John McKinney, and he was in the six-person frenzy that involved JJ Webb and a number of others. He's had a lot of experience, and the win he got in November was sort of a real kickstart for him. And Bob Koston is a new upcoming star from the Academy whose popularity with the crowd is really, it's hard to ignore. He's very high energy. He's very agile and athletic. And he also, it wasn't long ago, he was in a main event for us alongside Raynaldo. So he's got the experience as well under his belt now. So it's a really fascinating match, this.
Excellent. Okay, so next up is another six-man tag, the Shining Wizard versus the Wrecking Crew. So
yeah,
start with each member of each group for the guys that, of course.
Yeah, of course. Shining Wizard, again, it surprised me how much the audience loved them. They began their time with the LWF in the early days, and they were the complete opposite. They were a sort of a disjointed rock band, almost a bit aging. And since we returned, so I think it was just before we returned. It was just before lockdown. They peaked with their popularity out of nowhere. It just came out of nowhere. They had a match at the Riot with Sinergy, which nobody expected them to really turn up for, and they really pushed Sinergy. And since then, they now have a solid unit. They've recruited Helena Razor as a lead guitarist, and they played a set at Slamaganza to open the show. So the fans really enjoy watching them, and they also had an incredible match, which is on Powered 4 TV against Sinergy at Honor and Glory in the Mosh Pit Mayhem match, which was a sight to behold at ringside. So now they've entered into this into really big matches against big teams. The members, as mentioned, Helena, she's the newest recruit and really a great talent, and there's a lot coming for her in the future. Big Ron, the drummer, is the only founding member of Shining Wizard. He's the one that's been there right from the start. he's almost like your hired muscle. He's on the outside to protect, and he'll get in there if need be, which he will do this Sunday. Clash is, I would like to say, he's almost like he's like the Mick Foley of the modern day. He just doesn't care what he does to his own body as long as he gets a result for his team. And Aiton Steen was brought in just before lockdown, and he has developed constantly over time. He's done singles contests since, but he is the front runner for Shining Wizard and the lead singer as well.
Quite funny, yeah, because when I was watching him at TNT Extreme Field, they did have a bit of a Jeff Hardy feel about him, especially his connection to the crowd, despite the fact that being his debut for TNT.
Yeah, I agree with the Jeff Hardy comparison there. He's very similar in his style as well, not just the visuals. He loves the aerial moves. He loves to spring off the ropes. He's a real showman, and that's obviously why he's fronting the band. But he's a showman in the ring as well. And yeah, the reaction to TNT was really pleasing because he was largely unknown at that point.
And then, of course, on the Wrecking Crew side, you have Davey Getski, who was absolutely attested by the crowd. They just did not like him at all.
He is incredible because I went to a show recently he was on, and nobody really knew who he was. It was at the Kingdom of Wrestling show in Southport, and the crowd were clapping along to his music. And then when he walked through the curtain, they hated him immediately. It was unbelievable. I never seen anything like it. And he had that sort of reaction at Extreme Fields. It was automatic. They just knew how to react to him, and he thrives off that because he is grossly unpleasant in the ring. He doesn't care. He takes no prisoners. He's ruthless, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of 2022 he has.
And the Wrecking Crew have been wreaking havoc in LWF for quite some time now. Yeah,
I mean, they go against the authority a lot, and obviously I'm the authority at shows. I have, it's not just Davey Getski coming a pair, because you've got the Sledgehammer Chris Stone, who is a powerhouse. He is backup you would jump at having at any chance. But he's a ruthless, nasty man, and he pairs perfectly with Getski. And of course, you've got Nick Kutter to complete the three. They have been wreaking havoc, and they have been attempting really to take over and ruin every LWF show we've had this year, and in a lot of occasions they've succeeded. Something's got to give with those guys.
So this is a true fan favorite versus fan hated.
100%, yeah.
Looking forward to that one. Okay, so next up, you mentioned it earlier, it's Katie Hawkins, Lana Austin. Now, Lana Austin is one of the best women's wrestlers in the UK, up and down the country. She's the queen of the Northeast, but up and down the country, she's performed for every promotion. I doubt there's a promotion out there she hasn't actually wrestled for. And of course, going up against the younger, but very good Katie Hawkins. Also, KT Hawkins, not
yes.
So let us know a little bit more about her.
Well, Katie, it's really strange because we had the Lancashire Riot at the start of 2020, and she had a couple of very impressive matches involving Sinergy. She was in 8-person tag matches, and she was very impressive. So we gave her an opportunity at the Riot to compete in a fatal 4-way match with involving Rio, and she very impressively won that. And we thought she's going to go from strength to strength there. Then obviously lockdown happened. We came back at Slamaganza. She wasn't around for that, but then Summer Smash, she made a big return. It was great to see her again, and it just has not worked out. There's nothing. It's not really a performance thing. It's just bad luck. Sometimes other people have been involved. At October Overload, she had a losing tag contest with that sort of situation, but she's just had a run of very bad luck. So she's gone from one extreme to the other, and she's now sitting on, I think, 4 defeats, straight defeats. So when she heard that Lana was coming to the LWF, the first thing she did was come to management and did, well, I say beg, but it was almost a demand. She wanted this opportunity. It was the best chance she had to try and prove that this is not sort of a good, almost a representation of herself. And she wants to prove herself against Lana. And to be honest, I can't really blame her for that. I mean, there is no better person to prove yourself against.
Bring in the best when you want to bring out the best.
Absolutely. That again, you've hit the nail on the head. You did it better than me.
No way. Now we've got the synergy of Troy Ryan and Anderson Daniels versus JJ Webb and Keenan Krishna. Now you mentioned Shining Wizard versus Synergy, and wasn't Keenan booted from Synergy following their?
Yes. It was, I think it was because Shining Wizard's performance in that match was nothing short of miraculous, really. And I think they really brought the brutal side of Synergy out, and they just, I think Anderson Daniels and Troy Ryan and Jack Roberts just felt, that earned their respect. And I don't think Keenan Krishna was too. He wasn't too keen on sort of swapping over to that mindset. He wanted to maintain that we're Synergy, we're better than everyone kind of thing, and he was very reluctant to give respect to Shiny Wizard, and consequently he ended up disrespecting his teammates. And if there's people I wouldn't want to disrespect, it's the Synergy boys, and they showed him exactly what they thought of him, and he's now currently sort of branched out, and he said he works better alone. Obviously, he's not alone with the current card for this Sunday, but he seems to think he works better without Synergy. So,
yes, so he's enlisted the help of one JJ Webb, the Future Shock Academy Adrenaline champion. He's been performing again all across the Northeast right now, because that Northwest scene as well. Yeah, not very, again, someone who finds it hard to get a fans cheering behind him.
I think he's happy with that, to be fair, because he's somebody that sort of, he's a lone wolf, usually, and he makes it very clear that he's not interested in making friends when he gets out there. He did that at October Overload, and the LWF crowd were exactly as you'd expect, and I've no doubt they'll be the same this Sunday with JJ.
And then, of course, you say Troy Ryan and Anderson Daniels, who are former American football players. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe Anderson Daniels certainly was. I could do with researching Troy Ryan a little more on that one, but I can't.
Might be a powerlifting background then for Troy. Maybe it was one. I remember somebody said something on Ignition when they were on, and they are some beefy boys.
We're very, very proud to say that Synergy became a pairing through us. I remember when they came out at Fightmare Before Christmas 2018 as Anderson Daniels and Troy Ryan. So the name wasn't even set in stone there at that point. So we're very proud of Synergy, especially seeing what they're doing around the country now and how in demand they are. And yeah, they leave an impression everywhere they go, and they're always the ones. They're always being talked about immediately after any show they're on. So I can't praise Synergy highly enough.
Heavyweight wrestling in British wrestling has had such a resurgence as late, and as you say, guys like Synergy are going to be a real driving force behind that in the future. When they came out as Legion of Doom on a recent TNT Ignition show, they just fit it so perfectly. They're just absolute animals and hawks.
Oh, there could be nobody that would play Legion of Doom as accurately as Synergy would.
Indeed. Now, are you not afraid that Keenan's gonna sneak in some of his newfound friends over at Northwest Strong?
I don't trust Keinen as far as I can throw him. So who knows? Who knows? I don't know what he's got planned at the moment. I just know that it's sort of a case of proving to the LWF, for our product in particular, that he is better without those boys behind him. I think that's all he's trying to do right now.
I think he's an absolute technical wizard and a fantastic striker as well. But as you say, against those big lads, he's going to have more than his hands full.
I agree.
Okay, Helena Razor versus Tonga, who again, one of the, I suppose, I won't say it's surprising, but one of a breakout star of 2021. Via the Natural Progression series on Progress Wrestling. But since then, she's been making appearances all over the country. She's phenomenal in the ring and has a great attitude towards herself.
Yeah, and a really tremendous presence as well. It's one of these that as soon as she walks through the curtain, the room's hers. I feel that every time I've seen her perform, and she's certainly collecting the accolades at the moment as well. She's won a couple of championships, so there is only one way for her to go now, and that's up, and up further than she already is. Again, it's a massive acquisition to have her not only on our show but also very much involved in what's happening as well. She's not just there because she's Tonga. She's there because she legitimately has issues with people in our promotion. And I think that's fantastic because it means she's there for the long haul.
It would be easy to say who she doesn't have any issues with.
Well, depends where she goes. But certainly the strange thing about this match with Helena is it's come about through one punch. There was the 6 women target October Overload, and Tonga had just helped Slay All Day win the match. She slid out the ring, and Helena confronted her, and Tonga just swung a absolutely gargantuan right hand and took Helena out completely. And Helena since then has been smarting about it and has really pushed for this match and really pushed for this opportunity to get back at it just for that one moment. It's strange that a match can be built around something like that, but that seems to be what it is.
I don't know. If we go back to some of the early days of wrestling, I'm sure we can find some. But
yeah, there's worse cases, isn't there? Yeah.
But Helena Razor, she's looking to really kind of break out herself now as well. She wants to, I guess, in some ways, follow in the footsteps of somebody like Tonga, and this could be her opportunity to do so by proving that she is the better woman.
Yeah, Helena's she's amazing, really. She has proven that becoming a mother does not stop you reaching your goals and your dreams. It's been noted before. I mean, she will come to training and the children will watch her, and they come to all the shows, and she's now just continuously proving how strong she is. And even though this match is bore out of a grudge, I think a lot of it again is to do with setting herself a goal. If she can put herself on a pedestal above Tonga for this night, it sets her up for the new year coming. And there's big things for Helena. She knows how to mix it up. She can hang in there with anybody. She's definitely one to watch.
Indeed, and I tell you what, you've got a hell of a main event in an unsanctioned street fight for that LWF Championships. Raynaldo, the fan favorite. I remember when I was watching Slamaganza on Powerful TV, the crowd support behind Raynaldo was just phenomenal. But hands full with one of the youngest rising stars in the UK right now, Nick Kutter. How do you see this one? How has this all come about? Because I know there seemed to have been issues dating further back than the last, which was Slamaganza.
Yeah, with this one is very personal, and it turned personal very quickly. I think there's a video actually that's on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook page, and I think it was on the Twitter page as well, which shows sort of how we got here, sort of thing. So it'd be worth looking at that as well. But it's basically because Raynaldo and Nick Kutter had some trust and an understanding that if the chance arose, then they would be both put forward for a championship opportunity, and one would accept it if the other did. And if one of them won it, then they would give a shot to the other. They had an understanding. And then at Honour and Glory, Nick decided he would join the Wrecking Crew at the expense of Ray, which was a real heartbreaker for Ray and a real kick in the teeth for Nick Kutter's supporters as well, because he had a lot of fans. He was a Castle Cup winner at Slamaganza, so people were really behind him. And it wasn't long before that he was posing for pictures with the trophy and the fans and everything, and then he just turned his back on all of them. And since then, up until November, so two months passed, and Ray hadn't been able to get his hands on Nick. He said he would go through the Wrecking Crew to get this opportunity. He went through Chris Stone and Davey Getski at October in a tag match, and he finally got his hands on him at the end of Vengeance, which ended up with the locker room having to come out and split them up. And I think I realised at that point that there was no way to settle this other than what I've done. And so the pinfall of the submission that wins the LWF Championship will be the only thing that we will sanction. Because anything else before that, we want no part of. And I think it's the only way I've got to wash my hands of that situation. Let them fight it out, and then we get a champion at the end of it. And to be honest, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be gnarly. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but whatever it takes for us to crown someone.
Yes, because normally the LWF, and I'm sure the show will be family friendly in most regards. Oh, this one, because as you mentioned, Helena Razor bringing her children, the ones that I saw, the children absolutely, well, particularly Raynaldo, the young children were so behind him. It might be a bit difficult for them today, or do you think?
I think, like you said earlier, like you referenced, Raynaldo has such a following. He has an army behind him. And at Vengeance, the crowd were chanting anyone but Kutter. I think you've got this. They want to see Raynaldo do whatever it takes. He's been treated so badly by the Wrecking Crew throughout the year. I feel like they know what it's going to be. We're not going to patronize anybody. It's a street fight. There is no rules, and Ray wants to get back at Nick and the Wrecking Crew in any way he possibly can, and I have given him that opportunity. There is obviously I'm taking a risk by saying there's no rules, because Nick Kutter does have the Wrecking Crew. So I can't help Ray in that sense. All I can do is take away the rules so that he can do what he needs to do. And yes, it's always been a family show, the LWF, and it will continue to be. But I think the fans understand the severity of this situation and what needs to be done. And that it is what it is. It's a street fight.
I'm sure it's going to be action-packed, and it's going to be a classic, and you'll be able to see it, of course. Fightmare Before Christmas kicks off this Sunday, the 12th of December, in Chorley. What's the actual venue?
It's at the Town Hall. Chorley Town Hall and the doors open at 6 o'clock, and the first bell's at 6:30.
Excellent. That is going to be one fantastic show. But of course, let's talk about what's going to happen post-show and what you have for the future, what plans you might have in place come 2022.
I think there's going to be an interesting situation at the start of the year. I'll sort of throw out, not a spoiler, but a hint. There are a lot of impressive teams in our company that will want to be vying for some gold. Obviously, that's one thing I think we've both forgotten to mention. It was we've got the Merseyside Mercenary Squad will be at Fightmare as well against the Blazing Guns, who are a brand new tag team. They will be wanting an opportunity next year as teams, so that is a priority in the start of the year. We've also got a fantastic, and I'm very proud of it, a fantastic women's division, which needs the opportunity to flourish, and even more so than it already is. And we just want to continue to keep pushing show upon show upon show each month, keep the stories running, keep the interest up. And that's, and we're also looking to do a few things in between regarding the academy, maybe throw some academy shows out there on YouTube for people to watch the up and coming talent and the development. We want to work with local communities. We want to work with the youth zones to get them involved in coming to shows and maybe even some training as well. So we're very much 2022 is looking like a very busy but a very positive year for the LWF.
That's fantastic. And as you say, it will always be family friendly. And it is such a great show. As I say, I really enjoyed watching Slamaganza on Powered 4 TV. It's not the only LWF show available on there. You mentioned the Lancashire Riot earlier. That is available on Powered 4 TV right now, as well as Fightmare Before Christmas 2019, Slamaganza, and Summer Smash.
That's right. We've also got Honor and Glory should be up on there this week with any luck. Few issues in the technical side of things in the edits, but that should be up this week, and that'll be followed by the shows that follow. We've also obviously got Mosh Pit Mayhem on there as a free match to view. So we're going to try and get as much content on there as possible. And there's going to be a lot of content because we're aiming for a show a month next year again. We're going to keep pushing it.
That's fantastic news. Now, one question that we like to ask all of our guests is, now, in America, they have the Mount Rushmore. It's always American wrestlers. They have the four pillars in Japan, if you like. In the UK, we decided Rushton needed a mountain of its own. So Mount Rushton of UK wrestlers, four superstars who you think have influenced yourself, wrestling styles at the UK and on an international level.
It's an interesting one, this, because this could be a mixture of very well known and not very well known, because if it's influenced me personally, it's got to be included.
Yes.
So I think, if I owned Rushton and I wanted to make a mountain, I'd say growing up, Davey Boy Smith, because I was in awe of him. The accent used to get me as well. I felt that I could relate to that, but I was always in awe of the dreadlocks and the flag behind the arms. I loved watching him as well, and I was amazed by his ability. So I have to put him there. I think going forward and even now, William Regal. I wished I could have seen him win a world title, even if it was only for a couple of minutes, but fantastic technical talent, the brains of that man are ridiculous. He notices the little things, and I've always got a lot of respect for that. Oh, now it gets hard. I could say people that have influenced me personally in my journey now, and it's a personal thing, and it is nothing like what I've just said, but I'm going to go, and this is what I've learned in the last 5 months, and how to think, how to look at wrestling, how to work it out in the ring, and how to work out how to even to commentate. I've learned how to be to the simple things and how simplicity is important. And I'm going to say Joey Hayes.
Phenomenal talent, very underrated talent. PCW tag team champions at one point as the models with Danny Hope, but fantastic performer, and I'm sure he'll be making his stamp in 2022.
He's my personal choice because I know just how much I've changed the way I think this year as a result of what he's told me, and it's very recent, but it's vital what he's told me. And if I do achieve more, it will be because of that kind of advice. And the fourth, I'm inclined to say, because when I was coming up trying to learn how to commentate, I used to watch a lot of Doug Williams matches because I needed to know how to recognize every movement and be able to call it with fluidity. And as a result, I went from a commentator to being a promoter / commentator, but I went up in the ranks because of that early work that I watched. And a lot of his matches, I mean, I've never met him. I don't even think I might have had a couple of messages, but that's about it. But it's only when you've asked me this now, when I think about who's influenced me, that these people come to the top. So I've got to say them. So you've got one from the childhood, one from the growing up in wrestling, and then one from the progression, and then one from now.
I tell you what, Williams gets named so often because, as you say, such an influential talent in so many different ways, as you say for yourself, but in his wrestling style, being quite a big man, but showing that you don't have to wrestle as a big man. You can be a technical master. You mentioned Davey Boy again, just phenomenal. I was right there with you in those 90s, watching the British Bulldog going, I can't believe there's a UK guy on this amazing show. And then William Regal is just phenomenal and the best general manager that I think there's ever been in wrestling as well. And that includes Vince McMahon. When he came out that first time and went War Games, that was just amazing.
I mean, and the way, and you mentioned that's even after he's had an amazing career. So he's still doing it now, and I think that goes for obviously the exception of Davey, but the three people we talk about are still doing things constantly now, important things constantly now, be it at ground level or be it at the very top.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see Doug Williams actually back wrestling again this year as well. Obviously not the only guy that's come out of retirement, with RJ Singh and Martin Kirby as well. It's phenomenal to see these guys back on the scene because there's so much influence.
They're valuable.
There's some fantastic veterans all around the UK scene, as you mentioned, and they all deserve a little shining light every now and then. And as you say, valuable experience too. I think what has to be the biggest crop of amazing young British wrestling talent right now, if I can think of all the guys who are about under 25, so many incredible wrestlers right now coming through the scene. And as you say, the Sinergy boys, Dave Getzky, Nick Kutter, they're right there amongst those guys, and a lot to look forward to in British wrestling and in Lancashire wrestling.
Very exciting.
Is there anything else you'd like to?
I think you've covered all what I would have liked to have spoke about. Obviously, we're on all platforms on social media. We do try and churn out as many videos as possible in terms of getting people up to speed with what's going on at shows and how we get to these matches. So it's not just like the circus coming to town. There is a reason why all these guys are out there doing what they do, and we try and link it all together. So there's always material going out on Facebook, on YouTube, and like I said, we're on Instagram as well. So is the Academy. There's a lot of stuff going on at LWF at the moment, and it's only gonna get better.
Excellent. And yes, go check them out on Pound 4 TV right now. 4 shows available to watch. We hope you enjoyed this preview to Fightmare Before Christmas, and we wish you a great night. And remember, folks, don't feed the trolls.